Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Cohen, and I'll be hosting this week's Community Forum show. We are still operating from the house due to the pandemic situation. So it's a one-man show, but I'm getting better at it. So hopefully this will go nice and smooth. We have a special show today. We have one of the four candidates running in the upcoming Stoughton annual election, Scott Carrara. Scott, I've known for years, and he's going to come on and talk about his background, a little bit of history of himself, and we'll get started with a few talking points that he wants to go. So welcome to the show, Scott.
Roy, thank you so much. And yes, we've known each other a long time and through a lot of things.
Yeah, we certainly have.
My mom was involved with your campaigns, and now here I am running. But
I remember when she was, since you're bringing her up, I remember when she was the secretary of the Democratic Town Committee, and when I was the chairman of it, and she was phenomenal, very punctual, very, very, very efficient, and she made the job of chairman very easy.
yeah, she was a good secretary, legal secretary, and all that. And she ran my father's business. Now I'm doing it all myself, so now I know what it's like.
Well, I'm sure you got help, don't you?
Nope. I learned how to do office stuff myself. I keep somebody else out of it, so there's no problems,
Well, that's what,
What
if
it
that's
takes.
what makes it go and you do it without getting yourself aggravated, I guess that's a good way to go. And you don't have to worry about the difficulties in getting help to do the things that need to be done.
Yep. You can only blame yourself.
For sure.
But I want to thank you, Roy, and Community Forum venue for allowing me to be here. Yep, my name is Scott Carrara. I mean, a lot of people know who I am in town. For those that don't, I'd like to give you a little background and some of the service that I've done to the town. I've been a town meeting rep since 1988. I've served on the Stoughton Conservation Commission. I was a past vice chairman on that board. I served on the Cedar Swamp Advisory Board, which was a town well project before we secured the MWRA, and that went for like 3 years, and then it finally went MWRA. I was on the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate for 5 years, which you put on as an alternate because they have 5 permanent people, but you get swung into different cases because somebody is out or on vacation, or somebody might have a conflict, so they need people to fill in. And I'll tell you, you learn a lot on zoning. I learned a lot on conservation from a fellow that was there, Timmy Manning, past chairman. He taught me how to handle the paperwork. And when I was on the zoning board, I watched and I learned how a meeting should be run. And Dennis Johnson ran a superior meeting. It was just ABCD. It was right down the line. Everybody, understood how to act and when to speak. I also was on the Zoning Bylaw Review Commission. That was another board. And then in 2000, I was elected to the Board of Selectmen for 3 concurrent terms, which ran to 2009. So I was on the Board of Selectmen from 2000 to 2009. I served as the chairman of the Stoughton Water Subcommittee. I was on just recently, 2018, the Stoughton Sewer Advisory Commission that Mark Tisdale put together with only a handful of people, which was a great committee because it wasn't large. We vetted 3 areas and they chose to go to South Stoughton with the sewer. I wanted to service from the center of town out as far as Pleasant Street to service Park Street and those areas, but they said the other way was better, so that's how the vote went. And that's why the sewer is going up to Campanelli Parkway. It was supposed to go further, but Mark Tisdale and me decided to split it in half to take the impact off the town and see what Campanelli would give us for revenue out of there, to see if it was worth asking the town to go further than that. Because if you go further to Brockton, there's more parcels that are impacted by a lot of wetlands and stuff down there that A lot of it's not buildable, even though you see a piece that says 14 acres, there's only like maybe 2.5 that's usable. And that's whether there's soil or not. It's just wet, wet, wet going down through that way. And it just wasn't going to help the residents. It was like a lot of dead soil.
Does the plan, the sewer plan include the restaurant up there?
No, it's going to go from the old Remax building. It'll start there. It'll go up the hill to 10th Street, down 10th Street, and then to Campanelli.
Okay.
And then the next piece would be phase 2, because phase 2 will probably have two pump stations on it, where this one here will have one pump station on the phase 1. That's a pump station is very, very expensive. It's between 2 and 5 million sometimes to set them up, depending on the capacities and stuff. And we don't know if we get down to the Brockton line, if Brockton's going to tell us to take back the Arcade Plaza, because Arcade Plaza is on Brockton. So if we took it back and put it on our system, that would free up more capacity back to Brockton, or another part of town might be able to hook on to Brockton and go that way. But currently I'm serving on the Stoughton Finance Committee. I didn't realize I'm in my last year. As of April 30th, I'll fulfill a 9-year term on there, and time flies when you're really having fun, right?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
So that's, I've done a lot there with the town side. And then you were involved in Stoyak and all that. And I remembered when I was a little leaguer and we got to play on the first 2 fields, the Goff and O'Day, when they did the Stoughton Little League fields on Elm Street, that compound. My father's machine, he had just picked it up from Caterpillar, and they approached him, and he did those 2 fields, and I had no idea till Mr. Pushy told me that. So as my children got a little up in age to play ball, I met Dennis Gator for the first time, and Dennis said to me, hey, I was helping Johnny Anzavino as an assistant coach, and Dennis asked me, hey, can you help me out with these fields? And I says, what do you need? And he says, well, I need a back drag and do this, add stone dust. So I said, sure. I'd go up there on a Sunday afternoon with them, and he'd keep me there till it got dark. And as fast as I'm bringing the machine in and leveling it, he's raking. And we get them all done, and he'd say, give me a bill. And I says, yeah, I'll see. And I just drive away. That was my way of giving back for what other people did so we could have fields. So I've done a lot for the Stoughton Little League.
That was strictly volunteer.
What's that?
That was volunteer.
Strictly volunteer. No money changes hands, and it never will. I did a lot for Mike Samaco down at the Stoughton Babe Ruth field. One of my kids was playing Babe Ruth, and Mike's a good talker, and he could talk a dog off a meat wagon. So I ended up doing the same thing for him. I bring in the machine. He'd tell me what he needed. We'd level things. We'd fill holes. We'd plant trees. And I was thankful that I felt good that I was making it better, not just for my kids, but one less thing for somebody else to do behind us. And then after that, one of the boys got involved in Pop Warner, and then John Kowalczyk and all that about the community field. Larry Barrett was involved and stuff like that. And I supplied a 10-wheeler and a machine down there. And then they approached my father, and my father supplied all the digging for their concession stand. I bulldozed the field down there. We put the water and sewer in for $0, and it was for the kids. So it never bothered me. And then I did a little North School project with John Stagnoni. We dug out the area for their playground, no charge. And then I bought the business from my father, and there was somebody came to me, and then Jonathan Beater, who was the town engineer at the time, they drew up plans to expand the Stoughton youth soccer, get another parking lot in down there. He says, what can you do? And I says, well, what do you need? And he showed me what he wanted. I says, I'll bring the excavator in. So for 4 weekends, I brought the excavator in. I brought one of the guys that worked for me, and we ran the truck and the machine, dug it all out. Terry Edwards brought in the turtle, which is the broken up asphalt, that you scab off the roads, and I spread all that for them. We graded it all off, and they got a nice parking lot. And you don't ask for anything. You can see what it does for the kids. People have a place to park. It's what it is. Somebody did it for us at one time to start it. It's what I can do at my age to help them out. I'm in a position where I can do that. And
if you had not done that, then it probably never would have been done, because the town would have to pay for it.
It would, and it's a lot of money. If you think about it, it's a lot of money. An excavator costs a lot to move in and out, and it costs a lot. And I'm not talking a small machine. I'm talking a 33-ton excavator went in and out of that dog pound 5 times.
Sure.
Actually 10 times in and out. 5 times, it's 10 times.
Unbelievable.
But it didn't bother me. I knew I was doing something good. My aunts were involved in the Stoyak, the youth soccer back in the day, and I just said, you know what, why not? So that's what I've done for the town so far as a resident. I mean, that's what it's for. You step up, you show up, and you do what you can. You don't have to be the star of the show. You just, what can I do for you? That's it.
Well, you I would imagine, are loaded with information about things that are happening around town, because of your past and present involvement. I'm sure that will continue on. You give us a good idea of why you want to add the burden of becoming a member of the Board of Selectmen to your life.
I don't take it as a burden, because when I did it the first time, I was younger, and it was a time where things were starting to go in a wrong direction, and residents were there was nobody to step up. I says, let me try it. I'll step up. Every night I sat there, and this is no lie, because I don't have to tell any lies. Every night I sat there in the chair, no matter where I sat, left, right, center, it didn't make any difference. I'd get there early, especially when I was the vice chairman. I would set the meeting up so that if John Kowalczyk or Jerry Goulston was the chairman, I'd have everything ready to go. There was never, I don't know if I got the paperwork. I learned that by being on Concom. So when you sit in that chair and you look out into an empty audience in the size of that hall, and you think of the history and the people that sat there before, it's humbling that you're part of history. You're making decisions for like 24, 25,000 people, and you hope that you make it for them. Your views really don't enter into anything. You have to think what's best for those people. Mm-hmm. I raised the shift, and it shifted more of the burden of the taxes onto the commercial side. When I got to work, my old man was going to fire me. He goes, "What are you, an idiot?" I says, "Hey, Dad, suck it up." I go, it's
you did what's right. You did the right thing.
And I mean, it was tough. I mean, you'll lose friends over this job. You know that. You'll have people turn, but loyalty is everything to me. And all I have is loyalty to the people that sat there before me and did it, and the loyalty to carry on what's right. And a lot of people think that I'm too hard. Sometimes I come across hard because things are black and white with me. I made one mistake of going into a gray area when I was on conservation, and they ended up filling in 8,000 square feet of wetland. And they went, whoops. And the building was built. We had no recourse. What could we do? It was built. So I said, I will never be taken advantage of again. You only have so much integrity in life. And my grandfather said, you have this much integrity, and when you sell it, you have nothing, and you can never get it back. I heard that. It rings in my ears. My grandfather taught me a lot of things. And that's one I remember, is that your integrity is everything. So
that is for sure. Can we get back to the sewer bit? I'm concerned that the restaurant I was talking about up on Park Street, I understand they have to pump their tank out
They, yes,
regularly.
they do. But they also, this is another thing that you learn paper trails. And there's certain people that are in the know that Chateau, Jonas Serra, the owner, had approached the town once before with a plan. They had a full-blown plan to pump, even before this sewer was ever talked about. They were going to pump it up. There's a power line that goes up behind there. They were going to pump it up the power line to the subdivision across from the old Goddard Hospital. I think it's Lenox Village.
Right.
Yeah. There was an avenue to get into a little short circle roadway that abutted the power line. So they put it all together. And then the town said, geez, we might want to get on board with you to bring Cedar Hill on board there. So they were going to do it together. The town was going to supply materials and he was going to get the contractor. Well, when the price came in to pay the contractor, he didn't like it. So he didn't go forward with it. They never submitted the plans in full to go forward with it. So it just dropped off. So I can't, this is where I make decisions. I don't have to have, oh, geez, could you explain it to me? I don't understand. Geez, I was thinking, but I don't know. I'm not really experienced enough. I hear that a lot on a certain board, and this is why I'm there. That's why you don't go all the way to Brockton with the sewer, because there's a way for them to get it. Yeah, it costs money, but I am not going to burden the Stoughton residents running another 1.5 miles of dead sewer that nobody's going to benefit from. And if they tell you they're going to benefit from it, they're all wrong, because there's certain parcels of property, as you look at them going down, there's maybe 4 residents at the beginning, and they're the ones who are going to get hit hard, because when the betterment goes by, it's going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's a retired person, she won't be able to afford it. It'll become a lien. There's people who just bought that house they have across the street and stuff. It just didn't make sense to burden the town with any more. Right now, there is a deficit in the sewer department that's hovering around 200,000, and we have to make up that shortfall. So can you imagine if we went a little further? You know what I mean? It's just, you have to be able to make a decision out of experience. And I work in a lot of different towns, and I see what goes on in other towns, and we are the envy of the South Shore. People see what we have. They cannot believe. I worked in Hingham, and I saw their public works, and it was like, that's the public works. Well, they sub everything out. There's big contractors in their town and stuff, so they sub everything out. But they, different town people that you deal with, they're envious, and it makes you feel humble and proud too at the same time that the citizens in this town are good about things.
Sure. Do you think there's a chance that project behind the chateau would ever be revived? I mean, is that something that you can get a discussion going on it again?
To pump up the hill?
Sure.
It would be beneficial to both him and the Cedar Lodge to be able to get it up the hill, and it would be less involvement with townspeople's monies than if we had to run that full sewer. But the way they do it, once the sewer goes in the road, if they do it right, they'll be able to gravity flow to the new sewer. So it will be just like a turnaround and run it. And it's done.
Are those houses that are in that, what'd you call it, Lenox villages?
They're all on sewer.
They're on what?
They're all on sewer.
Oh, they are.
That goes to Daily Drive Pumping Station.
Yeah.
And that station was upgraded once, and then it was upgraded again to handle the additional flow.
Uh-huh.
And then we took the Goddard off Brockton and put it on Stoughton system. And then they gave that gallonage over to that Arcade Plaza so they could go to Brockton. If you remember, they ran that short piece up out of Brockton so that they could be on. But once you go the rest of the way, I think Arcade will probably come back on Stoughton line.
Well, that should work out okay. I just feel bad for the restaurant when I hear that he's got to pump probably daily.
Well, in the real live world, I don't like to say too much, but I do know the law. And if you pump more than so many times a year, it's an automatic fail and you got to do something. And, you pump 2-3 times a day. That's tricky.
Sure.
Tough stuff. It's.
All right, election day is Tuesday, April 6th. There are 2 openings.
2 open seats, yes.
And 4 people running for it.
Yeah.
One, I believe, is a present member. He's running for reelection.
Yeah.
And we have three newcomers that would like to.
Well, one you could, as some people say, I'm a retread, but because I've been there before. So
yeah, that's good. It's good to be a retread. You bring a lot to the board. It's good when you have a mix on there and people with different experiences, and when there's things that come up.
It's good when you come up, Roy, through a bunch of boards and committees, and you learn how to act. You learn what prioritization is. That you just don't go 0 to hero overnight.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, somebody said to me, they go, Scotty, what humbles you? And I go, what's that? It does you good to lose once first. So I did not make it my first time in 99, but I did make it in 2000. Yep. So it was a nice victory, And
I've had that happen to me a few times. It's not pleasant. But
no, it does humble you. And then remember Steve, the guy who used to do the
Fradkin?
No, the other one. Tall fella. He was in Democratic Town Committee. Steve,
Jerome?
What's that?
Jerome?
Steve Jerome. He sat there one night and he goes, Scotty, how do you feel about you lost? And I go, Steve, I didn't lose anything. He goes, what do you mean? I says, I wasn't a selectman. I'm on the zoning board. I just go back to the zoning board. I didn't lose anything. My name's out there. We'll try it again someday. And he goes, something? He goes, you're the smileyest loser I ever saw. And I go, I didn't lose. He goes, you're right. So that's how you got to look at it. But if some people get on they get on that board, bang, right out of the gate. I know why some people got on it, but then they jump on town meeting. I'm in town meeting for a year. Let me know when you've been there 10 years and see how town meeting runs and the fickleness and you got to build comrades in there. You got to know how to act, what's what, just spending money is easy, but spending money wisely is tough.
Of course it is. How do you see the future for the town?
Contrary to what some people think, that everybody's going to get inoculated and bang, we're going to be back to 2018 revenue. I don't see things coming back till full swing for like 2 years. You got people who are still petrified to be anywhere. You got people that are they have issues with health. They're not going to put themselves out there. You got people who don't even want to take the vaccine. I had somebody say it to me. They go, you're not going to take it, are you? I says, I most certainly am. They go, I'm not. So it's hard to say, but I think the town's going to come back slow on the revenue coming in. Like it's not going to be what they think it is. Sometimes they over predict the new growth. I've thought that since when I was on the board. Right. We ended up with the trash fee because of that reason. And it wasn't easy to do, but no, I think things will come back. They'll come back slow. But right now, I'm all about the employees, keeping them whole in their positions so that they can keep the services coming. If you have to shelf a fire truck purchase or another purchase of something else, then you shelf it. You don't just bond it and listen to everybody go, oh, we got an A1 bond rating. No, you got to be able to pay it back.
Sure.
And there's been some, ups and downs in the finance that we've seen that, it's going to be tricky to get the fire station through with the way they've designed it. It wasn't the way I was instrumental in working to get that armory for us. And to see what they've done, it's not, you can't even call it the armory. You have to call it the armory property because they want to tear the place down. And right now, Those firemen need a fire station. They don't need a total rebuild 2-year project. They need a rehab of that building, and not all the pieces that are there. There's low buildings that are just stuck on. You take them off like Lego and you're left with the main A-frame and a flat piece to the side. You put a second floor on it, A-frame that back into the building. Do it what it has to be. I think you're talking, if you did it right, and I'm not happy with the way things went and the price that came out of it. We've ripped the library till its skeletal guts and rebuilt it for $14,000. We got a $7 million, $14 million. We got a $7 million grant. The town could afford to budget $15 million fire station. We're not talking the new headquarters with the community room and all this other stuff. It was talked about as a fire station. Let's put the trucks in it, ambulance, the avenues for the men and the women to have what they need, and that's it. We're not talking another headquarters. We already have one. It's on Central Street. Everybody wanted it there.
Let me ask you a question. You got less than a minute to go here. Yeah. Do you a yes or no answer would be appropriate for it? Do you think that location for the new fire station is the best, or should there be another one?
There was another one, but it's not available because there's houses on it. I had mentioned it before. I thought Plain Street and West Street, when there was a field on the corner, but there was houses built there, that would have been the perfect place.
What about the Line Lumber Road?
Nope. It's way too wet. It's in the middle of the woods.
Right.
Nobody can find the station. It's ridiculous. But that place, the town drew a green circle around it. It was okay when it was in the woods on the Reynolds property. Now all of a sudden we have problems with the response time when they were all gung ho for the other place, which was right across the street. You could have thrown a rock at it.
Right.
So
Scott,
it makes sense.
I wish you well.
Boy, thank you. I wish I
work hard
longer, but I just thought that maybe an hour would be too much. But you know, I'm not in it to hurt anybody. I'm in it to help the town. I think I have what it takes to bring some stability back into that place and fiscal responsibility.
I think your background would definitely be an asset to the Board of Selectmen. And with that, I thank you very much for your time and wish you well. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Roy.
My pleasure. This is Roy Cohen saying thanks for watching, and we'll be on again soon. Bye-bye now.